Guys, we're in part three of this end of the year cohort. So, in the previous sessions, we took a deep dive and we looked at 2025 as a whole, right? What happened this year and what happened last year? Major changes to email, right? The biggest changes to email in a decade. AI has come. It's here. It's not going anywhere, right? With the way that things are changing, there's been some strategies that have certainly died off and are not effective. Like you can't buy a list and blast a list with a bulk email and then expect great result from that, right? Like that methodology is pretty much going away. So there's new strategies, there's new things that are working, and that's what we've done here. Is we did an analysis of 2025. We saw what worked, what went away, what didn't, and what's projected to do well in the next year. And so we're two. This is the third session. We're in two sessions in. The previous session we first talked about content, right? Like how do you own your data first? How do you own your data? Because as I just mentioned, things are changing. No longer is purchasing lists from third party unverified. Like that's not an option anymore, right? If you've tried that recently, you'll notice it's not effective, right? Exporting mass lists and buying mass lists and trying to mass outreach to them has become a fraction, a fraction of a fraction of effective as what it used to be. So those are the changes that are happening. We addressed that, right? We talked about how important first party data is. Then in part number two of this new cohort of lessons, we talked about the funnel. We talked about a powerful way to leverage AI and authenticity to create some of the most powerful content that people aren't ignoring, that people aren't calling AI slop and just thumbs downing, right? But instead something that's going to build a relationship, build trust, build following, right? That's the type of content we want to create. And we talked about that last time, some strategies to develop that. Not only that, but how that whole thing connects to a funnel. It's those three parts, right? It's the understanding your ICP, creating the ideal content for them, whether that's a post, a lead magnet, and then, of course, the automation, the auto responder, and the nurturing sequence that's tied onto that. That's what is made up of a funnel, right? And a funnel is how we acquire our first party data. So each one of these lessons that I'm going to be providing in this cohort is going to build upon each other and sort of require each other. But again, this is how we succeed into the future, right? This is how we're not going to be beholden to ad platforms, how we're not going to use methods and stuff that we know aren't effective anymore, like mass emailing lists that you just purchased. So that's really what we're doing. We're guiding you guys here into the future with strategies and things that we know have been effective and are projected to be most effective moving forward. So we talked about the funnel, how to create the funnel, right? In the last step, content followed by automation. The automation provides value. Now, in this session, guys, we're talking about how to measure the effectiveness of this, starting from the very top of the funnel, like what you're doing. How are people getting into your funnel? Is it ads? Is it social posts? Are you knocking on doors? Whatever that is, right? That's the top of your funnel. And then you have the middle of your funnel where you're delivering the autoresponder, the lead nurturing content, phone calls, text messages, stuff like that. And then, of course, the bottom of the funnel where conversions are taking place. And so we've now broken down in previous trainings how to build that funnel, right? And if you guys have questions on that, that's going to be in our founder coaching resources. So right from your Dubb dashboard, you guys will find access to this and the open mic, right? So right from your dashboard, you guys are all, if you're part of this founder coaching program, you'll have access to this now. If you're not part of the Pro Plus program, you'll want to upgrade to Pro Plus in order to make sure you have continued access to this training and the resources here. So it's right here, founder coaching. Just click there. Takes you to two things. One is the open mic. I put this in the chat. This is how you guys are guaranteed a spot on the show, if you will. If you can come on, we're going to review your funnel, your videos, your scripts, your downloadable assets, whatever it is that you would like support with, strategy, review, consulting. You're going to submit the open mic and we're going to discuss it with you. You also have the option of saying, hey, you know what? I have this question, but I'm not going to be there. Can you record it anyways? We'll do that. We'll record that answer for you and share it with you and get it out there. So I understand if this isn't a super convenient spot for you, if you're seeing this recording though, you can still get this level of support, even if you can't make it to these sessions. The last part of this is the curriculum, guys. This is where all of the lessons we've recorded for our founder coaching are located. Foundational stuff, right? ICPs and value propositions, everything we're talking about is based on that. If you don't know who you're talking to, you can't speak to them well. So foundational lessons coming into the more recent lessons that we're going to be doing and adding here to this baseline, which is going to be the last two and this third one. the funnel, right? There's going to be a whole lesson for the funnel. We recorded that previously. Just going through some editing, and that'll be here. The very first one, which is that first party data, is also going to be here. And then this one we're recording right now, which is how to measure your funnel, right? So let's go ahead. I have a nice presentation. We're going to jump into that. And if you guys have any questions along the way, please drop them into the chat, the Q&A. I don't want you to forget the questions. I will be presenting. I might do a pause and come back and answer some questions. I usually just get through the whole thing, though, and then answer questions. So make sure you drop the questions in there. Don't delay and forget them. That happens too often. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to share my screen. In one of my previous sessions, the last session, in fact, I showed you guys Gamma. It's a super powerful AI-powered tool to create awesome presentations, ebooks, etc. So if you want to create some awesome guides, ebooks, PowerPoints, whatever it is, this is an awesome application, and I made this one very quickly. So let's go ahead and get into it. This one, guys, this training is about how to actually measure your funnel, the performance of it from the top to the bottom, because we want to make sure that we are looking at each step of this funnel, because we have what's called bottlenecks, right? They can occur at the top, at the middle, at the bottom of the funnel, which are a choke point for the growth of our business. And we're now going to learn how to analyze the funnel and how to improve it and tweak it, right? When something goes wrong with your car, what do? Most of us just take it to a mechanic and they hook it up to a machine and it diagnoses the machine for us. We don't have that ability with these types of online funnels that are across multiple systems, right? You can't just plug in a device and tell you what's wrong with your funnel. So instead, this is the training for you to become your own mechanic. Thankfully, it's a lot less complicated than a car with 10,000 parts. So it's not that, and we're going to be able to get enough from this one training where you will be able to analyze your funnel and figure out where the weaknesses are, what improvements can be made, what the benchmarks are so you can know where you lie, all that and more. So let's get into it. This is how we're going to measure our funnel. There's 3 parts of the funnel, right? There's the attraction part of the funnel. That's the top of the funnel. That's where we're posting videos. We have our guides and our resources, advertisements, right? That's all on the top of the funnel with the attraction. Then we're going to have our automation, our follow-ups. It doesn't have to be automation, right? It could be manual touch points. I actually recommend a hybrid. We talked about this last time as well. It can be phone calls. It can be text messages. It can be automatic emails and text messages. The most important thing is delivering genuine value. Guys, every single time I look at a CRM that comes with off-the-shelf automations, they're anything but this, right? It's something like a nudge. Hey, do you have any questions? Just checking in, just following up. Are you ready? Do you have any questions? That's not delivering value, right? I mean, maybe 10 years ago that was perceived as value. Now it's perceived as pestering. Now it's perceived as an annoyance. So the most important piece, we talked about this last time as well. So I want you to come watch that training if you missed it. Your automation, your nurturing needs to provide value. We're not simply just engaging them, right? Hey, your phone rang. No, but instead you got a message, an email, a text that shared a resource that placed us in a position of altruistic, we're helping them. We're the consultant, we're the advisor, and we're someone friendly that people want to work with. And that's why we're delivering genuine value up front, right? We're not saying, hey, pay me something before I give you anything. That doesn't work well in this day and age, right? So this is the top, middle, and bottom of the funnel. The bottom is where, of course, the conversions happen. Now, technically, all of these can happen in one piece of the funnel, right? You can do this in one piece of content. You can attract them with the hook, and we're going to talk about performance in a moment. We're going to talk about what's effective, what your benchmarks are, what you should be looking out for. But again, this is applicable to every stage of the funnel, the top, middle, and bottom, but also each individual stage. Like at the very top, you have a hook that attracts them. Then you have the piece of content that actually engages them. And then you actually have the form, the guide, the resource that they're going to convert to receive, right? They're going to submit some information to become a lead. That doesn't mean they've became a sale or booked a call. It means that at least they've converted from unknown nothing into now a lead. So anyway, just to show you that there's not super strict definitions of these things, engage, attraction, they can happen at the top or individual stages. But that's what we're focused on. And in this case, attraction is always going to be, it's either at the top of the micro funnel, right? The single piece of content, or the top of your overall funnel, whether you're running ads, posting to social. This is where attraction comes in, guys. And I want to, again, just really quickly mention back on our previous thing, we talked about this. We have multiple trainings for this. Understanding your ICP, understanding your value propositions. The riches are in your niches, right? This is the training that's saying you have to know exactly who you're talking to before you begin trying to speak to them. And once you're speaking to them, that's what you're posting for attraction. And that's when we're going to be measuring our impressions and our click through. We don't just say, I wonder what I should post today and throw it up on the wall, right? We have research, we have training to give us intelligence and research on what we're posting. So, anyways, what we're typically measuring at the attraction is going to be impressions, click throughs. For engagement, it's going to be things like watch time, click rates, right? How many people are actually opening the emails, clicking on the emails? How many, if it's on social, right? How many people are stopping? What is the average watch time? What is the click through on the social post? These are, I'm going to give you more specific benchmarks, right? This is just kind of an introduction to what these things we need to be watching are at the individual stages we need to be watching, right? Each metric has its own things that needs to be paid attention to at different stages. At the bottom, we're looking at conversion rates, right? In the top, we're looking at impressions, click-throughs. So let's get into some specific metrics, guys. This is what good metrics look like, right? Now, this is, I wouldn't even say conservative. I would say this is a pretty fair estimate, but it will depend. This is not for cold audience. These metrics here that I'm showing you guys, this is not for like you are emailing people from a phone book randomly, right? Those numbers are going to be much lower than this. But this is like your list, right? These are leads that you're generating, leads that you're marketing to. This is what this should look like. So you have a lead and you're emailing them. This is a really decent open rate. If you're getting 30 to 40% opens, that's pretty decent. The only thing I'd be careful of there is if all those opens are happening at once, they're probably not real, right? They're probably iPhones and stuff like that. So email opens are not actually as powerful of a metric these days as they once were because of all the email open tracking. What's actually a better metric is click-throughs, right? If you have videos or even just other resources, 1 to 3% is a pretty good click-through rate on email, right? So if you have send an email, and this says for video content across platforms as well, but this is also within email. If you get a 3% click rate on your email, that's not terrible. If it's for warm, 10%. So it really depends. These benchmarks, I couldn't put everything into one slide. It depends on if it's completely cold versus completely warm. On the completely cold side, everything's going to be much lower, right? 5% open rate, a 1% click rate. Literally 1% click rate would be pretty good on email opens. Years ago, you could look this up and they would say, oh, 2 to 3% average. That's not true anymore, guys. It's reduced dramatically. So 0.5%, like if you send 1,000 emails to cold people, 1% of them you get to click on your email, I would say that's a pretty decent outcome. And the data here hasn't caught up yet. If you do this research, it shows, 2 to 3% average on cold email click-through rates. It's not, right? Not anymore, anyways. So just to be aware, there's benchmarks that you guys want to be aware of, depending on whether you are emailing or marketing to completely cold or warm audiences. This is more in reference to a warmer audience, right? Email opens are for leads that you've previously generated. A landing page conversion is from a lead, right? A lead is visiting this landing page. You had to have their contact information to get them to visit the page, unless it's through ads, right? So if it's through ads, again, same benchmark. So landing page, this is like a Dubb video page, right? If you have a Dubb video page that says, hey, it's Darius, I wanted to share one of my favorite resources with you. Below, you'll find that guide. That should have a 10 to 20% conversion rate, right? If you're having 100 people, you can tell, right? Dubb shows you how many people view your page. So whether you're using Dubb for all of these resources, which you can totally do, right? I can see how many people have viewed my page right here, or you're using something else for your landing page. The point is these are all measurable, right? If you have 100 visits to your landing page and only one conversion, we're at a 1% conversion rate and we're well below what the benchmark says is where we should be, right? So I wanted to show this slide to you guys because it introduces some benchmarks to us. It's not perfect science, right? Sometimes we can actually get much higher than some of these things, depending on how warm the audience is, how good the offer is, right? A benchmark is just that. It's a place to shoot for. If you're above this, amazing. If you're below this, we need some work to do. And so now, and you can see here, plus 5% for cold, or minus 5% is actually, should say. So let's talk about a couple other channels, and then we're going to talk into how to actually improve these things. So YouTube, right? This is my favorite channel, guys, to post for your business for a number of reasons, right? Because TikTok, YouTube Shorts, even Instagram Reels, those are all ephemeral. They're gone the day after you're done posting, right? Very rarely do you get continued engagement on old posts. YouTube is not like that. If we've done our research, our ICP, we're creating content based on keywords that we know our ICP is searching for. They're not going to stop searching for those things in a week or a month or even a year. And so these videos on YouTube can continue to perform for a long period of time. So that's why it's my favorite channel to invest in. It also, like we talked about last time, gives us the cascade method or a waterfall, right? Where we can create one piece of content and recycle it for different platforms. So YouTube's also great because it gives us some nice metrics, and we have some benchmarks to start with here as well. Click-through rate. What we can see is that means when people are given an impression of your video, like they're searching or it comes up in their feed, and then they click on it, that is essentially going to be the title and the thumbnail, right? On YouTube, that's a title and the thumbnail that make your click-through rate higher or lower, because they've already, whatever they did on YouTube to have your video served to them, right? They're searching for the things relevant to you or whatever. So the fact is your video is served, and now it's your title and your thumbnail that are going to determine how many people are clicking on that. View duration. This is how many people continue to watch your video. And this is why, guys, again, I can't stress enough providing value. If you've done your homework, you know who you're providing value to. You've done your homework and you've created something of actual genuine value to those people. There's a much higher likelihood they're going to continue to watch your video. If it's not, right, if it's fluff, if it's just useless information that we're just putting out there that's not targeted, not specific, not genuinely valuable for ICP, you're not going to get this number, right? People are going to tune out very quickly from the beginning. Watch time. This one is nicer if you have longer videos. If we're doing short form, we don't get that benefit. So depending on who you are, what type of content, this one's maybe hit or miss. Engagement rate, right? You want engagement, likes, shares, comments. Subscriber growth is great, but that's something a little bit different too. Like for your channel, if it's for real estate, that can be very subscribable. Like if it's for Dubb and you're saying, here's how you add a video to an email, here's one strategy on how to do one technical thing. That's not such a subscribable piece of content, right? So there's certain metrics here that are great for YouTube to track, some of which, though, I don't want you to get so invested in, right? If you're posting on YouTube to generate leads in a niche thing, you probably don't have a large number of people subscribing to that, right? Because they found the answer to the thing they were looking for and they moved on. They got your solution. They don't necessarily need to subscribe and get more information about that solution. So some of these metrics, click-through rate, view duration, those are extremely important. That's why they're first. Regardless of whatever you're doing on YouTube, YouTube won't keep showing your video if you don't hit these two marks. So how to improve these, right? We talked about making sure your video is genuinely valuable for your ICP. You know who you're talking to, they're more likely to keep watching. And here we talked about having great thumbnails and great titles. And in our previous training, we talked about using SEO, Keyword Planner, right, to do some research on making good titles. You don't just guess. You can use data to give you good titles. Thumbnails is kind of just guess, right? You can look at other thumbnails on YouTube, see what has a lot of views. It's something like this, right? A happy face, like exciting face, a shock face, some human face with something. Always an easy way to go. Canva has some great stock thumbnails you can put in your own images. Okay, this is YouTube. Now, Meta is another one. And there's a couple of different things here as well. There's ad performance and there's organic performance. Again, you want to measure these things, guys. If you're falling asleep at the wheel, if you're not measuring the top of your funnel, nothing else is going to matter. Nothing else is going to work. Because I can promise you, if you're not measuring it, it's not running off the rails and doing amazing, right? Very rarely in our world does that happen anymore, where things just magically go and become amazing on their own. These viral things that you see, that wasn't their first video, right? It was their 1,000th attempt at doing all the things we're talking about. They did their research. They did their homework. They know who they're talking to. And it wasn't until their 100th video, their whatever, 50th video that went viral. So this is what we're doing. We're not counting on hitting the lottery and getting a lucky streak. We're counting on data and research and analytics to inform better decisions. And so that's what this looks like on Meta. If you're in ads, this is a click-through rate, right? Cost per click, under $1 is amazing. If you're at $2 on a cost per click, that's a really good range. If you're in $3 and $5, you're either in a highly competitive field and it's impossible to get below that amount, or you're doing something wrong, right? That we need better creatives, we need better audiences. So there's a number of ways to fix these things, but the first step is being able to analyze them and know where you're at. Are you above or below the benchmark? So organic engagement. This is a 1 to 3% engagement. So that means likes, shares, comments. That if you have 100 impressions on your thing, 100 views on your post, and not a single engagement, that's an indicator, right? An indicator of weakness, an indicator of shortcoming in that post. So once you're aware of these benchmarks, guys, it's not something that you obsess and just like, oh my God, this thing didn't get 100 views yet. It's more just like, okay, that happened. And now let me learn from that. Let me move on and try something different. Or, oh, this one did really well. What can I learn and extract and move on from this? That's what this process is, right? It's iterative. But in order to make iterations, you have to measure. You have to know what you're measuring, why you're measuring it, and what those measurements mean. And so this is an introduction to you guys. Again, this is not a full entire lesson because we only talked about, we're scratching the surface here, right? At the top of the funnel for things like ads or email. There's much different metrics for cold email versus warm. So again, we can't go into the nuance of everything. We're in limited time in these presentations, but we're happy to dive deep individually, right? If you guys want to say, hey, Darius, I need some help analyzing this piece of my funnel, it's exactly what these sessions are for. Introduce you guys to high-level concepts and give you the resources and tools to take action on your own, as well as the environment and the expertise to come get help when you need it. So anyways, a couple of benchmarks here on Meta that you'll be aware of, right? $1 per click, really good. Cost per lead, 5 to 15 is a pretty good range. And I would say, but then what does the rest of the performance of the funnel look like? A $5 lead means nothing if you're not able to convert any of them, right? Or if it takes 100 to convert one, because now all of a sudden that's a $500 customer, which if you're in real estate or something big ticket, shoot, you'd pay $500 for a customer all day, right? Because the commission's always greater than that. But again, it totally depends on what type of business and what's actually happening with those leads. So $5 per lead form submission on Facebook, that's a great cost. But what's the quality? What's the conversion rate? Knowing where to measure, knowing what those measurements mean, make all the difference. So organic has one set. It's always in the lower ranges, right? Because there's so much competition now, guys. Video retention, this is the same as YouTube, right? That 50 to 60, the duration, how much of it are they watching? That's the same here, 25 to 40%. That is primarily the benefit or the benefactor of the hook and the content. We stress the hook every single time we talk. That's what Ruben's teasing. One of the AI tools we're about to release can help you create some amazing, powerful, unbelievable hooks that keep people's attention. But beyond that first 3 seconds, it's up to you, the research, understanding your ICP for that content to keep them watching, right? If you have a 3-minute video, the hook gets their attention for 3 seconds, maybe 5 more seconds. But then if the content doesn't misses the mark, they're gone, and we're not going to hit these benchmarks. And then nothing else is going to work, right? CTR goes up, engagement goes down, like everything goes the opposite if that first thing that doesn't happen, right? The thumbnail, the preview of the video has to stop the scroll. The hook has to get their attention to earn their attention for a few more. And then that introduction of the video has to get them to commit for, half the video or so. So if it's a long video, that's a big ask, right? If it's a long video, I hope you've packed it full of as much value as you possibly can to get that 50% or 40% mark. It's not always easy. In short form, it's easier, right? It's easier to talk about something very well for 90 seconds than it is for 5 minutes, right? So anyway, be aware, guys, of your benchmarks, of your channels. Are you running ads? Are you doing organic? Like, are you doing door-to-door, in-person events? Those still have metrics as well, right? Time spent, conversations had, conversion rates, right? You had 50 people at an event. You got 50 contact information. Of those pieces of 50 information, that's your click-through rate, right? That's your impressions. What's the conversion rate there? So it doesn't actually matter. I'm talking about digital forms of a funnel, right? Meta, YouTube, but in person is the same. How many people came to your open house? How many people were at the conference that you actually had to engage the list you procured or whatever from that in-person event? All the same rules apply to the top of the funnel. We need to measure. Otherwise, you don't know if it's working. And where are those benchmarks? We have an idea now. So here's some ways to actually diagnose the different parts of the funnel. Low click-through, right? That means in the ad has a low click-through rate. The email we're sending has a low click-through rate. The whatever that very first thing, that's what the click-through rate's referring to. So if that's low, that means our hook is terrible. That means the thumbnail isn't good. That means the first part of our video isn't right. If it's in ads, it could mean the audience is not correct, right? The main thing is usually the hook. That's usually almost always good. Because even if you're selling something and the audience isn't perfect, if you have a really good hook, people are going to start paying attention and they're going to stop their scroll no matter what, even if it's not relevant for them. If you have a really good hook stops a scroll. It gives more time on your content, whether it's organic or paid, which then tells the social platform to share your content more, to lower your ad cost. So fixing your hook, having a very effective hook, and having a nice, clear message with a clear content, right? Your offer, whatever you're sharing in the message itself, that also has to be clear. Because again, the algorithm's listening and it's showing the video most likely to people who are relevant to whatever is being said. So if I'm talking about dogs, it's more likely to show my content to people that are interested in dogs. Keep that in mind, because that's what improves your click-through rate, right? You're talking about things that people want to search for, more likely to be seen by those people, powerful hooks to get their attention, genuine value to keep them interested, keep them watching. The next, guys, in the previous training, we talked about how do you convert from a view to a lead? And there's several ways. The easiest way is if you're in Dubb already, you have forms, right? You have a form and an autoresponder. And so that is where the opt-ins come in, right? So you got the click, you got them to stop the scroll on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. They stopped. And then you said, if you want this, opt in, right? Get the guide, get the resource, get more information, join the group, get the community, right? Whatever the offer is. We talked about how to create some really awesome resources with Gamma. I'm using it right now, right? That's the opt-in. If people are opting in, meaning you're hooking them, right? You're stopping the scroll. That's the hard part. It's a really hard part. But then no one's opting in. Several things that means there. That means the landing page needs clarity, right? The landing page needs improvement. If you're using Dubb, this is the video with the buttons beneath it. Are you physically directing them and telling them the resource and why they should get it? That's what needs to go into that, right? Make things as transparent, as clear, as value-oriented as possible and say, hey, thanks so much for checking out my ad. I wanted to share the most valuable resource we could possibly come up with you. All you have to do is fill out the form below, and this ebook is going to be directly delivered to your email, even text message. It's our best work that we've compiled over whatever, right? I'm selling the book now. That is going to help improve the landing page, the opt-in. People aren't opting in for free these days, right? People are hesitant to give away their actual contact information. They'll give you a burner email, a junk email, or junk phone number, no problem, right? If they want to kick the tires. But if you actually want people to give you their real information that they're going to respond to, that's what this is about, right? It's about crafting really good messages, crafting genuine value, and delivering those, making sure it's crystal clear that that's what they're going to get. And that's why they're opting in. That's why they're giving you their phone number. I mean, because if you think about it these days, like this thing has value, right? A qualified lead, their phone number and their email has a value. If someone's going to sell that to you, it's what, $20, $30, $50 a piece, depending on your business, minimum of $10, right? So we're asking this person to give us $10. Do you want to give me $10? Why, right? Make it clear, make it irresistible for them. So that's what the opt-in is, right? We're asking them for $10 or more, or depending on the industry. And why should they give us their $10? And it's not actually $10, right? They're not putting in a credit card. They're giving us something of value that's equivalent of $10 or more. And so we want to make sure that the landing page, the video, the funnel, right? Whatever they're touching first, is it a Dubb page? Is it a custom page? That has 100% clarity because we know who they are, the ICP. The hook is very compelling for them. The value is genuine that we're delivering to them. And the landing page makes all that very clear. That's how we're going to boost opt-ins, conversions, right? From the mini conversion, right? The lead, they became the lead or something. So top, middle, bottom of funnel. This is the middle, right? We attracted them. We talked about how to fix that. Now we need to capture them. We talked about how to fix that. And now the final is the sale, right? The final conversion. So you're getting these leads, maybe, and on the bad side was, well, people are buying leads still, right? And then they're not converting. No wonder. first part or third party data is dying. Deliverability sucks. The quality sucks. They're not even opted in. They don't even know who you are. That's why third party data is dying. This is first party data, but it doesn't mean that it's perfect. It doesn't mean that everyone that opted in is going to convert. And so if they're not, right, what is the actual conversion rate? I've seen a lot of people run lead ads on Meta only to end up with a bunch of leads that seemingly aren't qualified because they're not converting. And then we go and look at the funnel and we see, oh, well, the hook was terrible and the delivery wasn't good. So that means the leads that we're generating weren't actually qualified. And I'm surprised that any of them opted in because the majority of them aren't actually even qualified for this offer. So then we end up rebuilding the entire funnel based on the bottom of the funnel, which is look where we are. We're getting these leads, but they're not. So, okay, come back to the top. So that's why we've addressed each part of this, guys. Wherever you're having problems. Oh, it looks like we're getting junk leads. The leads are too expensive. The leads aren't qualified. Let's come back a stage. What does the conversion rate look like? What does the cost look like? Are we targeting the right people? Now, this don't try to do all three of these things at once, right? That's difficult and you can't spread yourself too thin. Instead, focus on one area at a time because you're going to feel overwhelmed, especially if this is new for you, right? If you're not a funnel diagnostic expert, you're going to want to look at one thing at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't give yourself so much. You're like, oh my God, I'm so lost. Don't do that. I can promise you I've seen that too many times, especially if this is new. It's easy to look at where are my leads coming from? Do I have a really good hook, either in text or video format, that are bringing those leads in? What's my engagement rate like on that top of funnel asset? Is it an in-person? Is it an ad? Is it an email? Whatever it is. You guys know now, if you've paid attention to this training, where to look, what your benchmarks are, and actually how to potentially address each stage, each metric within those stages. And if not, if you guys are still like, you know what, I got some of this, but I need help, you have it right here. You can come book an open mic and come get an expert analysis on any one of these things that you'd like some support with. So I never want you guys to be in one of these coachings and feel like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed or I'm intimidated or this is just too much. We can do everything we can for you, right? There's certain things we can't, right? We can't record your videos, can't speak to your clients for you, but we can give you expert analysis and feedback and constructive criticism on anything that you're trying to do. So here it is, guys. The takeaway. Let's go to this last one. The takeaway here is your action plan. 15 minutes, guys. That's all it takes. It's not hours a day or hours a week even doing this. Spend 15 minutes analyzing the top of your funnel and then analyze the other pieces. Maybe Monday's the top, Tuesday's the middle, something like that. If you break it up, I would say do it all at once, right? Like, and okay, how's this one doing? If you're doing this first, right? It's your first time ever analyzing your funnel. I don't recommend doing it all at once. It's going to be too much. I would say pick the top and work your way down. But once you've done this exercise and you've reviewed your entire funnel, then it only takes 15 minutes once a week. Say, how's top of funnel doing today? Okay, the metrics are here. Our click rate is here. Our cost per result is here. So now we know how to analyze each stage. Once it's done, it's easy to maintain, far easier than the initial. Pick one stage, right? Again, what I just said, don't try to fix everything at once, especially if something's broken. Don't try to fix everything at once. Start at the top, work your way down. You don't fix the lead problem first, right? You don't say, well, how do we fix the quality of the leads? Well, I don't know. Just tell them to be better quality. You got to go to the top first, work your way down. One solution at a time, one thing at a time, right? You can't measure or change 4 things and then measure the outcome and be like, oh, I know what worked, because you won't, right? We change one thing and then measure. And these iterations happen very quickly, right? This is a weekly thing. So on Monday, we say, hey, look, something's not right with this landing page. Only 5% of people are converting. Let's update the video. Let's make it more clear. And let's sell the resource, right? Let's get that guide. Let's make sure that it's irresistible. Say, guys, I have the very best guide you're ever going to get your hands on. Sounds too good to be true, right? But get your hands on it and you will see it's going to be amazing. Fill out the form. It'll be sent right over to you. We update that and then we measure later that week or perhaps the next Monday. That's what we're talking about here. Review. Change one thing. Measure the analysis of that one thing. You can't change 5 things and then measure an analysis because it's too many variables, right? You don't know what affected what. If you're at like, oh my God, everything's broken, and I need then I would say just pause. It's unfortunate. That because sometimes it's very frustrating. Like if your ads account or something is completely broken, we sometimes have to start from the beginning. I don't like to suggest that, right? Because it's like impeding progress. But if it's not progress, right, we're rolling down the wrong path. We're going the wrong direction, and it's going to take us longer to backtrack. So sometimes a full stop, a full pause is okay. If you're feeling overwhelmed and everything's broken, a full pause is okay. If you're like, no, you know what? I think just one or two tweaks here, then great. Try one thing at a time. Last, guys, track, measure, write things down. What does the benchmark look like today? What does the performance look like today? When you're 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, you're like, wait, what was it again? I can't remember because I didn't write it down. Just like exercise, right? You keep a food journal, you keep your weight, your measurements, you measure these things because without measurement, you're relying on your memory and that's not going to be good enough. So, guys, clarity plus consistency makes more conversions. Follow this plan. And if you need help with any part of this, that's exactly what we're here for as well. That's it for you guys. How to measure and improve your funnel.